With me, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney. Dabo, let's talk about coming into a year where you guys are looked at as a favorite and talking about Taj Boyd being a Heisman Trophy candidate. The pressure on this team, is it different than years past?
Well, our team has high expectations every single year. Our fan base has high expectations every year. So it really doesn't matter what happened last year, whether you won 6 games, won the conference, whatever. It's always a new season, and high expectations are a very common theme in Clemson, South Carolina. But we're coming off a good year, obviously, and we've got some marquee guys coming back, as you mentioned, Taj Boyd. So that just adds to the fervor. But the key is to just stay focused on our formula for success and how we prepare, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. And last year has nothing to do with our performance this year. It's all about 2013 and putting our best foot forward this year.
I lived in Atlanta a long time. I watched the Clemson Georgia games. I know how big they can be. You glad to see that back on the schedule?
I am. I'm not excited about playing Georgia. From
Right.
a coaching standpoint. This is a very, very good football team, probably as talented a team as there is in the country, and probably be a preseason top 4 or 5 consensus team coming into it. But I think it's great for Clemson, Georgia. And the fan bases. I grew up in south of Birmingham, so I grew up watching Clemson, Georgia. So many great moments, and then, I've been at Clemson for 10 years now, and, just that's all people talk about is the tradition of that game. And when it got put back on the schedule, it immediately caught everybody's attention, and people have been talking about it for several years now. So I think it's great for both fan bases. I think it's exciting for both teams to have a chance to go compete against the best of the best. We feel like that we're one of the better teams in the country, and certainly Georgia is as well. And to open up on a stage like that against a quality opponent is very exciting.
Seeing football change, the ACC is changing now. 14 teams, and of course Notre Dame comes in as well with 5 games the following year, and Louisville as well. Talk about what it's like seeing the conference change and what you'd like to see perhaps as the ACC grows and changes in the future.
Well, there has been a lot of changes since I've been in this league, and I've been in the league now for 10 full years. This will be my 11th season, and so I've seen the championship game come into play, and the addition of the new teams, and I think with Pitt and Syracuse and Louisville now coming in, I think that's just adds to our brand. This is a great conference. It really is. We have not produced that undefeated team just yet. It's been a very competitive conference. But I think that we're a conference that is on the rise. And when you look at what we do from a totality standpoint, from a competition standpoint and academics, I think it's as good as it gets out there in the country. So, proud to be a part of the ACC. And I really think that our future is incredibly bright, and that we're going to have our share of times standing on that big stage. Whatever team it is, representing this conference.
I'm guessing when you talk to alumni, they're pretty fired up about getting to play Notre Dame once every 3 years.
Yeah, obviously Notre Dame is one of those national brands, traditional programs, and I'm excited about it. Our fan base has experienced some games against Notre Dame in years past, but me personally, I've never played or coached against Notre Dame, so I'm pretty excited about having that opportunity. They'll come on our schedule in 15. We got Georgia this year, Georgia next year, and then in 15 we'll play Notre Dame at Clemson. So. Yeah, that's something that people can already start getting excited about, and I think their commitment, because it's the most commitment that they've really made from a conference standpoint. I think that's just another one of those things that's good for the ACC.
I was thinking about this. There were the Bowden Bowls, and now you and Florida State have gone after each other the last few years for the Atlantic Division title. Is Clemson-Florida State now one of these big rivalries in college football?
Well, I think Clemson-Florida State has always been a big rivalry in college football, not necessarily just now, but I think as of late, the last few years, the winner of that game has gone on to win our division and play for the overall championship. So it's a huge game, and we compete against them, all the time. People. I had a lady come up to me at a show and say, we had the Bowden Bowl, now we got the Bobo, the Jimbo Dabo. So we have. It's always a great game. I got a lot of respect for Jimbo and how he runs the program. And they're a big challenge every single year, but it is one of those key ones that if you're going to win our division, we've got to go through Florida State, and I'm sure from their perspective they say, hey, we're going to have to beat Clemson.
Last thing on that, would you like to see the divisions change at all as this conference grows and evolves?
I really, I know there's been some talk about that. I really am kind of indifferent on it. I mean, I really am. I know that we're going to always have our traditional rivalries. For Clemson, Florida State to not play each other, I don't think that's good. For Clemson, Georgia Tech to not play each other, that's not good. Back like when I was at Alabama, for Alabama and Tennessee to not play, or Alabama and Auburn, so I think we would always have those traditional rivalries. But if the conference, with the expansion, ever felt like that, hey, we need to maybe look at some reshuffling, I would not have a problem with that. But again, I would want to protect those very traditional games that we already have in place.
Coach Dabo Swinney, thanks.
All right, thank you.